The world knew William Hayes as one of America's most successful billionaires. His name was written on skyscrapers, technology centers, and charity foundations across the country. But behind the luxury cars, private jets, and billion-dollar companies, William was a man searching for one simple answer. Who truly deserved his legacy? At 58 years old, William was still energetic and deeply involved in his businesses. Unlike many wealthy executives, he didn't spend his days showing off his fortune. He spent his mornings walking through his garden, talking with employees, and visiting children's hospitals supported by his foundation. People admired him because he remembered where he came from. William had built his empire from nothing. As a young man, he worked long hours, faced countless failures, and learned that money could build a company, but kindness could build a life. Now, he had everything except peace of mind. His 3 children were very different. Ryan Hayes, his oldest son, was confident and intelligent, but he cared deeply about wealth and status. He believed success was measured by expensive watches, luxury homes, and powerful connections. Claire Hayes, his daughter, was charming and sophisticated. She loved beautiful things and enjoyed the attention that came with the Hayes family name. She often worried more about appearances than helping others. Then there was Lucas Hayes, the youngest. Lucas was different. He drove an ordinary car, lived in a comfortable but simple apartment, and spent much of his free time helping people in his community. He never asked his father for money or used the Hayes name to get special treatment. William noticed everything. One sunny morning, William stood outside his large California estate, watching children from a local charity program playing on the grass. Their laughter filled the garden as they enjoyed a day sponsored by his foundation. Lucas was there, sitting with the children and helping them paint colorful pictures. William smiled, but then his phone rang. It was Ryan. "Dad, I heard you're making some big decisions about the company," Ryan said. "I think it's time I take a bigger role. After all, I'm your oldest son." William looked toward the garden. "Leadership isn't about being first in line, Ryan. It's about responsibility." Ryan laughed softly. "Of course, Dad, but we both know the company needs someone powerful to protect the family fortune." After the call ended, William felt disappointed. Later that day, Claire arrived at the mansion wearing designer clothes and carrying expensive shopping bags. "Dad, I was thinking about the future," she said with a smile. "Maybe we should discuss what my share of the family assets will look like." William looked at her carefully. "Claire, do you ever think about what you could give to the world instead of what you can receive from it?" Her smile faded for a moment. "Dad, everyone knows money is important." William didn't argue. He simply nodded. That evening, William invited all 3 children to dinner. The dining room was bright and elegant, filled with flowers, warm lights, and beautiful decorations. For a moment, it looked like a perfect family gathering. But William had something important to announce. After dinner, he placed a small folder on the table. "I've spent my entire life building this company," he said calmly. "But my greatest responsibility is deciding who will carry my values forward." The 3 children looked at him with curiosity. "I have created a test," William continued. Ryan leaned forward immediately. "A test?" "Yes," William replied. "A test that has nothing to do with money." Claire looked confused. "Then what is the point?" "The point," William said, "is to discover who understands the true meaning of success." Lucas quietly listened. William explained that over the next few months, each child would receive a challenge. They would have the opportunity to make decisions, solve problems, and prove what kind of person they truly were. "The person who passes this test," William said, "will not only receive my greatest inheritance, but will also become the future leader of the Hayes Foundation." Ryan smiled confidently. Claire looked excited, but Lucas simply asked one question. "Dad, what do you need us to do?" William smiled because that was the answer he was hoping to hear. The test had officially begun, and soon, the Hayes family would discover that a person's true wealth was never measured by the size of their bank account. The following weeks revealed the true personalities of William Hayes' children. The first challenge was simple. Each child received $1 million to use for a project that could create a positive impact. They could invest it, donate it, or build something meaningful. William wanted to see their choices, not their promises. Ryan immediately hired a team of financial experts. He created a plan to multiply the money quickly and impress his father. His presentation was filled with charts, profits, and predictions. "This is how you grow wealth," Ryan proudly explained. William listened quietly, but he noticed Ryan never mentioned the people who could benefit from the project. Claire chose to create a luxury event. She organized an expensive charity gala at a famous hotel. The evening looked beautiful, with elegant decorations, famous guests, and cameras everywhere. But behind the scenes, most of the money was spent making Claire look successful rather than helping those in need. Meanwhile, Lucas used his $1 million differently. He visited a small neighborhood where many families struggled with food and education. Instead of creating something with his name on it, he worked with local people to understand their needs. He helped rebuild an old community center, created learning programs for children, and supported small businesses owned by hardworking families. When William visited the projects, he saw the difference immediately. At Ryan's office, he saw expensive furniture and impressive reports. At Claire's event, he saw beautiful photographs and social media attention. But at Lucas's community center, he saw children smiling, parents feeling hopeful, and people working together. William felt proud, but he still had one more challenge. For the final test, he gave each child a difficult situation. He told them that one of his companies was facing financial trouble because of an unexpected market change. They had to decide how to protect the employees who depended on the company. Ryan suggested cutting jobs quickly to protect profits. "Business is business," he said. Claire suggested selling the company before it affected their family reputation. Lucas asked a different question. "How many employees are depending on us?" William answered, "Nearly 5,000 people." Lucas spent days meeting workers, managers, and families. He created a plan to reduce unnecessary costs while protecting as many jobs as possible. It was not the easiest solution, but it showed compassion and responsibility. Finally, William gathered his children in the same dining room where the test began. Ryan and Claire arrived expecting a celebration of their success. Lucas arrived quietly, unsure of what would happen. William stood and looked at them. "Money can reveal who people truly are," he said. "When some people receive wealth, they only think about themselves. When others receive opportunity, they think about how they can help others." Ryan looked down. Claire became silent. William turned toward Lucas. "You never tried to impress me. You never asked what you would receive. You only asked what you could do." Lucas smiled. William announced that Lucas would become the next leader of the Hayes Foundation and eventually take a major role in the company. Ryan was shocked. "Dad, I worked harder than anyone," he said. William nodded. "You work hard, Ryan. But leadership is not only about intelligence. It is about character." Claire finally understood that her father's test was never about money. It was about values. Months later, Lucas helped expand the foundation across America. More schools were built, more families received support, and thousands of lives changed. Ryan and Claire also changed. They learned from their mistakes and began volunteering with the foundation. Slowly, they discovered that helping others brought a satisfaction money could never buy. Years later, William stood beside Lucas at the opening of a new community center. He looked around at the happy families and smiled. His greatest achievement was never becoming a billionaire. It was raising a family that finally understood what true wealth meant. Because in the end, the richest person is not the one who owns the most. It is the one who has the most to give. The story of the Hayes family became an inspiration for many people. News outlets shared how a billionaire chose kindness over greed, and communities across the country followed Lucas's example. William often reminded young entrepreneurs that success was not just about building companies or collecting wealth. It was about creating opportunities, treating people with respect, and leaving the world better than they found it. Every morning, when William walked through the garden of his home, he felt grateful. He finally knew his legacy was safe, not because of his fortune, but because of the values he had passed on to his children. The lessons from his family's journey continued, inspiring generations to choose honesty, compassion, and purpose over pride and greed.